Alright, let's see. No. That's more like it.
So you've been bombarded with ads for both Artlist and Epidemic Sound, but which is better? Well, we've literally spent around 4 years using both platforms. We've made close to 400 high-end YouTube videos using their music and sound effects that have gotten hundreds of millions of views, so we've got some strong opinions that you're not going to hear anywhere else. We first started on one of these platforms, used it for a year or two, and then had to switch to the other option because it just wasn't cutting it. And in this video, you're going to find out exactly why. Both platforms will be linked below for you to check out.
This is Content Capitalist, where we give you all the knowledge you need for this new age of content that we're living in. Let's get into it.
What you want from a copyright-free music library are songs that actually sound like real high-quality songs that you would hear on the radio or in a movie. And we're happy to report that both Artlist and Epidemic Sound both have super high-quality music. You're not going to find any generic-sounding songs on either one of these platforms. All the songs sound like they were created by real, authentic musicians, unlike a lot of other copyright-free music platforms that just have terrible-sounding music. And you have unlimited downloads on both platforms, so no limits. But where they differ is in how many songs they have in their library. The Artlist library is much smaller than Epidemic library with way less songs. And you can clearly see that when you compare the tiny list of genres available on Artlist versus the giant list of genres available on Epidemic Sound. And this is the problem we ran into. When we first started going hard into YouTube and turned it into a full-time career, we started off using Artlist, and it started off great. We were genuine fans of it. Like we mentioned, the songs they do have are amazing. But since we make the same types of videos over and over again like most creators do, we found that after a year or two, we started having to reuse songs we've used already in previous videos just because there weren't enough songs to choose from on Artlist. This was our experience a few years ago, so we would hope that Artlist has added more songs by now. But from the looks of it, the Artlist library still pales in comparison to Epidemic's library, where it seems like there's a genre for everything. Once we switched over to Epidemic, we never ran into this problem again. You get the same quality of songs, but just way more to choose from. Epidemic Sound boasts that they have 40,000 tracks, while Artlist, they don't even advertise how many tracks they have, probably because it's not nearly as much. So this one goes to Epidemic. But music is just one part of the overall sound design of your videos. The other part that is just as important are the sound effects. Sound effects are the easiest way to give your videos a more premium feel, with barely any extra effort. And once again, both Artlist and Epidemic Sound offer really high quality sound effects. But once again, the Artlist library is just way smaller than the Epidemic one, which you can see in the number of categories for sound effects on Artlist versus Epidemic Sound. Epidemic has 90,000 sound effects, while again, Artlist doesn't advertise how many they have. Now, the size of the sound effects library is less important because in reality, most people aren't going to need that many sound effects for simple YouTube videos, and Artlist's smaller library may be less intimidating to choose from. Artlist is arguing that less is more, but in our case, we'll take Epidemic's bigger library all day, every day. So this one also goes to Epidemic. Now let's go over something insanely important when it comes to copyright-free music. Are you going to experience any copyright issues when using their music? Well, we've experienced some problems in the past, and here's how it went. For all of our time using Artlist, we don't recall ever having any copyright issues using their stuff. You simply link your social media accounts under their cleared list section in your settings and you're good to go. Epidemic Sound has also gone very smooth. On Epidemic, you also link your YouTube account or other social accounts under your account settings. And we've never had any issues up until recently, when a competitor music platform decided to submit a copyright claim on one of the songs we were using in one of our YouTube videos. Which is really weird being that we got this song from Epidemic. Now, this is not Epidemic's fault. This random person's claim was fraudulent because Epidemic owned the rights to this particular song. But luckily, all we had to do was email Epidemic about it, and they got back to us with a thorough reply as to what to do. We sent them the link to the song we used from them, and they instructed us as to how to submit a counter notification, letting YouTube and that claimant know that we have a license to use this song from Epidemic. And that was that. Problem solved, good customer service experience, nothing to complain about.
Now let's go on to the last piece of the puzzle. Pricing.
Now on the surface, Artlist might look like the more affordable option. They've got a $10 a month plan, but that's $10 a month billed annually, so you have to pay $120 up front. If you want to pay monthly, it will bump it up to $15 a month, which is fine, but at that rate, you might as well pay $18 a month for Epidemic and get the larger library that we've talked about. And if you want any of the better plans on Artlist, they're all annual, while Epidemic has monthly options for everything. So obviously the clear winner in our book is Epidemic Sound. It's what we recommend and it's what we're still using to this day, including on this channel. We've been pretty hard on Artlist this entire video, but it's not without fault. We started on Artlist, we were a very happy customer for the 1 to 2 years of using it, until we ran into those limitations. So we switched over to Epidemic and we've been much happier since. We will say this though, if you need stock footage, Artlist does have a stock footage platform called Artgrid that we really love. Artgrid is Artlist's companion site for cinematic stock footage. It requires a separate subscription from Artlist for $30 a month billed annually, or you can get their combo plan for $40 a month billed annually that includes both Artgrid and Artlist. And their stock footage is really legit. Just like Artlist, the stock footage selection is small, but you're getting some of the best cinematic stock footage we've been able to find online for a very reasonable price. Most stock footage you find online looks very generic. It has that generic stock footage feel, which is a really bad look for your videos. Artgrid's videos look like they were filmed by true artists. They look cinematic. The color grading is on point, which is why we use them. We'll also link it below along with a link to Epidemic Sound for you to check out. And we'll have a full review on Artgrid soon, so make sure you subscribe.